I believed in you. You know, I do not believe that you did anything to do with drugs. I think he was such.
It's probably a lot more right than what we realise. Because I'm like Amir Khan. So I'm probably disappointed. I'm probably gutted. I'm something has to change. But
the middleweight limit, which is 160 pounds, to have him boil down to 157 is literally attempted murder. And they wanted me to be an accomplice to it.
Disgrace again. Chris Eubank Sr. exposes Conor Benn for relying on drugs and distractions instead of proper training. He warns that thinking fights are easy is dangerous, and even a top fighter like Eubank Jr. can easily exploit that weakness in the ring.
When someone staggers like that, it means they've been looking at bling. They've been looking at money. They've been looking at girls. They've
not preparing.
Yeah, they think it's easy.
Yeah.
And when you think it's easy, even a fighter of his caliber can beat you. And
Eddie Hearn highlights how chaotic the Conor Benn situation is. The British Boxing Board of Control hasn't made a move yet, and the legal side is still in play. It's fresh news, and every minute counts as fans await clarity on the failed drug tests.
Obviously, at the moment, the British Boxing Board of Control aren't. So we have to speak with them, deal with the legal situation and see where it lands. And this is quite fresh. Obviously, I don't even think it's 30 minutes. I think it's more like 10 or 15 minutes since that. And you know, we'll see what rolls on.
Chris Eubank Jr. makes it clear that he has nothing to hide. He emphasizes how shameful it is to be dragged into these allegations when he has been tested more than ever and has never failed a single test, showing his discipline and integrity.
It's a shame, man. You know, it's a shame that we have something now that kind of muddies the story, if anything. It's a shame.
John Fury stresses that boxing is too dangerous for any cheating. He reminds everyone that innocence is presumed until proven guilty, but clearly highlights the risks if banned substances are involved, adding weight to the seriousness of Conor Benn's situation.
If Conor Benn's been using, ban the fucker. Ban him. Because it's a dangerous sport. Whatever they do and whatever they don't. But I'm having no opinion on it at all. You know, a man's innocent till proven.
Carl Frampton condemns the use of performance-enhancing drugs, especially in a sport where a fighter's life is at risk. He makes it clear that anyone caught should face a lifetime ban, highlighting how unforgiving boxing can be for those who try to cheat.
High-profile guys getting caught, and it's just horrible. Genuinely, and I know you without going fucking fully mental here. I just believe if you're caught with any performance-enhancing drug, you should be banned.
Eddie Hearn exudes confidence for Conor Benn, insisting he is emotionally and physically ready. He respects Eubank Jr.'s toughness and size, but believes strategy and smarter fighting can tilt the rematch in Benn's favor, showing the pressure building ahead of this battle.
Really confident. I mean, confident from everything that I've seen from Conor Benn in this camp, not just physically as well, but emotionally, talking to him, seeing Eubank, listening to a couple of the comments as well. I think we're fantastically poised to win this rematch. Not going to be easy. Eubank's shown his toughness. You know, he's a true competitor, and he's much bigger. But we'll be smarter this time. We'll still be spiteful. We'll still be violent.
Johnny Nelson points out that drugs cannot replace skill. Strength and energy alone will not teach timing or ring intelligence and cannot make you a champion. His words expose the futility of relying on banned substances and reinforce the purity of boxing talent.
Hey, drugs don't make you a better fighter. Drugs may make you a little stronger, may make you a little, give you a bit more energy, but it don't make you technically smart. It doesn't give you all of that. You know, so those drug cheats that do it purposely, you've got to remember, you know, why are you doing it? What difference is it going to make? It's going to make you like a boxing Einstein?
Duke McKenzie criticizes the scandal as a disgrace to Conor Benn's father's legacy. His dad was a warrior who never cheated, and these alleged violations contrast sharply with that honor. McKenzie underlines how serious the accusations are in the eyes of boxing history.
Now, what he's done, it's like a slap in the face for his dad. His dad was an absolute warrior. I remember his dad well fighting, and he was an absolute warrior, and some of the fights he had will go down in boxing history as being some of the most savage fights ever. I don't think his dad ever got done for anything illegal. And to me, it's just wrong.
Gareth A. Davies brings crucial insight into the Conor Benn controversy, highlighting that he was reportedly using 14 different supplements. This raises serious questions about his training, preparation, and whether some of these substances were banned. The scale of this issue cannot be ignored, as it paints a picture of potential misconduct at the highest level. Experts like Jeremy Wilson being involved shows the depth of investigation required. Fans and analysts alike are now scrutinizing every detail of Benn's regime, weighing the impact on the upcoming rematch and the integrity of the sport itself, making this a pivotal moment in British boxing.
I haven't been reporting on it this morning. I'm just slowly coming up. One of my colleagues, Jeremy Wilson's doing it for the Telegraph. He's the drugs expert or the doping expert on the desk, and I think there was something like 14 supplements that he was using.
Frank Warren confirms the undeniable truth behind Conor Benn's failed drug tests, stressing the seriousness of each individual failure. While Benn deserves the right to present his case, Warren highlights the need for swift action to preserve the credibility of the sport. Every failure compounds the pressure on Benn and forces promoters, fans, and regulators to question his integrity. The unfolding situation is not just about legalities, but the ethical weight it carries. How quickly this is addressed will set a precedent for future fighters and ensure that the sport maintains its standards for honesty, fairness, and safety.
The facts are the Conor failed a drug test. That is a fact. It's not been denied anywhere. There's lots of talk about, let's see how this works out, and he's entitled to get his day and so forth. Well, it should be dealt with very quickly, and it can be.
Dave Coldwell captures the raw emotion and immediate disgust that anyone feels seeing a fighter potentially cheat. He acknowledges that gut reactions label Benn a cheating bastard, while emphasizing that the facts are still necessary to make a fair judgment. This underscores the tension between public opinion and verified evidence. The repeated failed tests raise alarm bells, but Coldwell reminds us that without details, it is hard to fully assess the situation. The public, media, and boxing authorities are all watching closely, balancing outrage with the due process of confirming exactly what substances were involved and what impact they might have had.
Is fucking hell, cheating bastard. Yeah. That's the initial reaction. Whether it's a first fail or a third fail, that's the initial reaction. Your gut reaction is, but then obviously we don't know what he's failed for yet, and we don't know what it is. But then when it's somebody that's failed 3 times, or this is the third adverse reaction.
Don Charles is unflinching in condemning the use of drugs in boxing, saying it is entirely unforgivable and unacceptable. He argues that if the allegations are confirmed, there can be no forgiveness for Conor Benn. The criticism extends to governing bodies, accusing them of weak enforcement and insufficient penalties, which fail to deter others from similar conduct. In a sport where lives are at stake, Charles reminds us that fairness and discipline are essential. The broader message is clear. Any breach of these rules threatens not just one fight, but the reputation and safety of the sport as a whole, making accountability vital.
Like taking drugs, I mean, this is very unforgiving. You can't, I'm sorry, provided he's been found, it's 100% that those substances were found in his system, it's unforgiving. And you know what, I blame the governing bodies, because I don't believe that they imposing heavy enough
Eddie Hearn gives a deeply personal perspective on the Conor Benn controversy, describing the emotional moments when Benn pleaded his innocence. He stresses the difficulty of separating loyalty and friendship from factual evidence while conveying the trust he places in Benn based on years of observation. Hearn's testimony underlines the human side of the situation, showing that these accusations impact lives and reputations, not just records. While the doping allegations are serious, Hearn illustrates the complexity of judgment when personal experience and professional scrutiny intersect, highlighting how character and trust weigh heavily alongside facts in evaluating a fighter's legacy.
It's really difficult because everybody will plead their innocence. When you got a kid that you've known for, I don't know, 6-7 years, who, virtually lives with Tony Sims, who is, a very close friend of mine, the most, 100% solid man in boxing, who spent 13-14 weeks with his dad living in his house, who comes into your office you know, breaking down on the floor, pleading his innocence, looking you in his eyes, giving you every opportunity to tell you the truth. And when you see the facts, I believe that Conor Benn is innocent. Maybe it's because he's my mate, and maybe it's because
Johnny Nelson reflects the uncertainty and frustration surrounding Conor Benn's drug revelations. He voices the disappointment felt by fans and insiders alike, and stresses that changes must happen within the sport to prevent similar scandals. The constantly shifting news highlights how volatile and fast-moving these stories are, leaving everyone unsure who knew what and when. Nelson captures the tension between public opinion and the slow pace of investigations, while emphasizing that boxing needs transparency. The situation is evolving rapidly, and each update reshapes the narrative, making it a critical moment for accountability in British boxing and for protecting the sport's integrity.
It don't matter what drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, it might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter, and that's proof. You know, so until more news come.
Duke McKenzie delivers a hard-hitting stance on doping in boxing, stressing that cheating undermines both fairness and fighter safety. He argues that licenses should be revoked for offenders because performance-enhancing substances introduce unnecessary danger into a sport where lives are at risk. McKenzie frames the debate around integrity and responsibility, reminding everyone that boxing is unforgiving and requires strict adherence to rules. His commentary makes it clear that cheating is more than an ethical violation. It is a direct threat to opponents and the credibility of the sport itself. McKenzie's position strengthens the argument for tougher enforcement and accountability.
If it was me, take his license away. You know, because you cannot cheat in the sport of boxing. Not if you're going to put on a pair of gloves and get inside that square circle and physically fight somebody, and potentially you could easily lose your life, then to take anything which will give you enhance your performance, it's just wrong.
Adam Catterall emphasizes the critical role of regulators in maintaining fighter safety and fairness. He warns that turning up and getting paid is not enough responsibility for athletes who may use banned substances. Anti-doping measures must be enforced rigorously to avoid accidents and maintain integrity. Catterall highlights the broader implications for fighter safety if violations go unchecked, citing potential dangers on fight night. His commentary underscores the necessity of systematic enforcement by the British Boxing Board of Control. The situation is not just about Conor Benn, it is about setting a precedent to protect all fighters and the credibility of the sport.
Again, they want to turn up and get paid.
Correct.
This should not be their decision. The British Boxing Board of Control should be standing up and taking the voluntary anti-doping test seriously. Absolutely. Yes, I know that you work with the UK anti-doping, I know that, but this is a test. He's popped hot. Let's look into it properly. What happens if something happens on Saturday night?
Absolutely.
What if we've already got a safety issue with the
Tony Bellew critiques Chris Eubank Jr.'s mindset, pointing out that he overestimates his technical prowess against Conor Benn. Bellew frames Benn as the superior fighter, while emphasizing that perception can cloud Eubank Jr.'s judgment. This psychological aspect plays a crucial role in their rematch because believing you are the master can lead to mistakes against a confident and well-prepared opponent. Bellew's insight suggests that while Eubank Jr. is tough and competitive, mental miscalculations may be his biggest challenge. The commentary highlights the importance of mindset, preparation, and humility in boxing, showing that confidence must be matched with respect for the opponent.
Conor is a far better fighter than Chris Eubank Jr. is a boxer.
Technically, yeah.
And that's the problem that Chris Eubank Jr. is having. He's got this thing in his mind, he's a masterful boxer. No, you're not.
No.
I'm sorry, no, you're not.
The stakes for this rematch could not be higher, as Conor Benn's drug controversies cast a shadow over the sport, while Chris Eubank Jr. has maintained a spotless record and impeccable discipline throughout his career. If Benn somehow overcomes the odds and wins, it would be a shocking upset, but questions about his integrity would linger and tarnish any victory. On the other hand, if Eubank Jr. dominates, it will be a statement not just of skill, but of mental strength and preparation, showing that discipline and clean fighting always prevail. Fans must also consider the psychological edge Eubank Jr. holds, as he knows Benn's weaknesses and has learned from their first encounter. While Benn faces mounting scrutiny and pressure, this fight is as much about pride and legacy as it is about talent and tactics. Who will rise under the pressure and who will crack? Let us know your predictions in the comments and join the conversation on who will truly come out on top.